And welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Sebastien Duffillot. Well, I'll ask Sebastien to say it, but it's Duffillot. Sebastien's
Duffillot.
far more important than I make him sound. My French is horrible. I'm embarrassed, but please stay tuned to listen to Sebastien tell us about his remarkable work in Laos with the Elephant Conservation Center that he founded. So stick around.
Welcome to Your Mark on the World, bringing you another changemaker with champion of social good, Devin D. Thorpe.
This episode is made possible via the support of our sponsors, including Johnson & Johnson's Caring Crowd. Sebastien, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin. Thank you
I
for having me.
apologize for murdering your last name. I mean no disrespect, and I hope this will reflect only poorly on me and not on you. We're thrilled to have you. Thank you for making time.
Thanks a lot.
So, Sebastien, let's start at the beginning. You've got this Elephant Conservation Center. You created it. What was going on in your life and in Laos that you decided to do this, and how did you start it?
Well, that's quite a long story, so I'll try to make it short, but I was originally attracted to Laos in the mid-90s to work as a graphic designer. And I've been setting up one of the first graphic design studios in Laos back in the days. And I was quite surprised to be asked for elephants all the time. People, clients there wanted logos or artwork design, and everything was elephants. And I knew I was in Laos, which was formerly known as the land of a million elephants. So after a few years, 5 or 6 years, I decided to go and find these elephants, which I had never seen. And there started a long story, which is still going on. And so we took our motorbikes and went up north in a province of Laos called Sayaburi, which is host to about the 3/4 of all elephants in the country, and met this incredible culture of mahouts raising their elephants, and people very close to this animal. In terms of husbandry, in terms of working with them and accepting them as family members. So there is still a very lively connection between people and elephants in Laos, although the latter are disappearing very quickly. And I found this quite interesting in terms of symbiosis and in terms of really quite an interesting connection between the environment, a culture, and an animal, which is very unique in this part of the world. And I thought that was worth protecting, helping to protect. So I started an NGO called Elephant Asia with a partner of mine, and during almost 12 years, we ran this non-profit in Laos, running veterinary care units, trying to work with the government to improve the condition of local mahouts by reconverting them from the destructive logging industry into ecotourism, for instance. And we started a breeding program. And that took us up to 2012, where with 2 partners, we decided to set up a base in this very province of Sayaburi, where I stand tonight, a conservation center, which is now open to visitors.
It's magnificent work that you're doing, and the Conservation Center operates, at least day to day, purely on the basis of the fees that the visitors pay. But I want to talk about that. Are the elephants putting on shows, giving rides? What do visitors experience when they come?
No, I think that's exactly what we wanted to create. It's hopefully a new model for the elephant-based tourism industry to look at and maybe to follow a place that can be financially profitable and that doesn't rely on anything fancy like and very out of date really, like elephants performing shows or giving rides, or let's say a business model that is based on entertainment. On hand, we attract people to see elephants being elephants, and it's not a very complicated model, although you need land and you need good professionals to do this job. But it's really a very simple model after all, where people come here to observe and to learn with professional biologists and vets and excellent mahouts that would take you into their world and show you elephants socializing, breeding, playing, but there is no physical interaction with the animals. So we try to reproduce conditions that are as close as possible as what elephants would live in the wild. And I think this model, although it's unfortunately not very common in Asia, is again profitable and attracts more and more people, especially Westerners, who are more sensitive to the condition of elephants in captivity.
Are elephants still found in the wild in Laos?
There are still wild elephants in Laos, not so many. Altogether, this country that had probably about 100,000 elephants a century ago now has only 800 elephants on its territory, half of which are wild and the other half being under human care. So there is a population of about 300 to 400 wild elephants, and in the province we are in, Sayaburi, there is a national park called Nampui, which has a population of between 50 to 80 wild elephants, and we are very lucky that we've been granted a mandate to conserve this area where wild elephants still inhabit.
Are Asian elephants sought for their tusks, their ivory? Is poaching going on for their ivory?
Wild elephants are under threat, firstly because of deforestation. So the destruction of their natural habitat is the main cause in Asia. We all hear every day about this massacre of African elephants, which is going on for years now. That is what is fueling the international market. Asian elephants are poached, but on a much smaller scale. However, it happens, and it has dramatic results on the population, because only male elephants bear tusks in Asia, although in Africa both male and female do. So when elephants are hunted for their ivory here, only males are targeted, which creates a sexual imbalance in the sex ratio of the species. So that's quite concerning. The other concern is that elephants are being poached not only for their ivory anymore, they are being poached for their skin, for their genitals, for their nails, for their hair. Everything eventually ends up on the black market, on the wildlife trafficking market.
That's tragic, tragic. Your work isn't limited to the conservation center and to protecting wild elephants. You also tag and help to manage or care for the domesticated working elephants. Tell us about that work.
The elephants in Laos and in Myanmar, in Burma, have been working in the logging industry for centuries, and with forests disappearing, and they are no longer needed for this business. So a lot of them are being made redundant, and the only option today for them is to be employed in tourism or to be sold abroad, which is one of the main issues in Laos today. There is a big illegal business, illegal trafficking of live elephants to foreign countries. which probably amounts up to the first problem for this category of elephants. And without elephants being employed in this industry, and they are not generating any income for their owners, so we need to find sustainable economic solutions for these people, which that very knowledgeable about elephants, and they really do care about these elephants. But without any money, they have to resort to selling these elephants. And we try to push and to lobby with the government to keep these elephants in the country, because they want to sell their elephants if they are not giving a proper job. So we try to hire as many we can, try to select the best of this. So we try to fill a generation gap, which is going to be in the near future job. No young person wants to be a mahout anymore. They think the mahout, the job is being associated with a very harsh kind of job. They think that it's a difficult employment, that's little. This young generation don't know that ecotourism can give them a very good opportunity to keep the craft alive, make a proper income, and meet people from around the world. So we try to also attract young mahouts in our center.
Yeah, excellent. And you know, this work is so incredibly important. I'm so glad you're doing it. You've had a remarkable career. Most of it spent there in Laos. I wonder, what's the most important lesson you've learned from your career and your time in Laos?
I've learned many things, I have to say, but I've met a very gentle and very interesting and intelligent people in Laos here. People who are very close to nature, people who are still depending very much on nature, and that gives us Westerners a lot of matter to think about our own relationship with nature. Although nature protection and species conservation is not a top priority for Lao people today, because it's a very fast developing country, a small country, and one that is still quite poor. Although beyond that, people are connected to nature in their daily lives. And I think that's the one thing that I would remember of my experience in this country. It's this very intimate relationship with nature that this place can give you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Sebastien, you've been there doing this elephant work for a long time, and it's really remarkable what you're doing. Why did you care so much about the elephants? What's the trigger? What's the connection?
Well, the trigger is not the elephant, actually. I think it's the country that took me to the elephants. I'm not an elephant lover initially. I'm not an elephant hugger. I was horse riding when I was a kid, and maybe that's where the origin comes from. But beyond that, it's really a meeting with a country and a culture. And a country that has one of the richest biodiversity of Southeast Asia, and one biodiversity that is very much endangered today. And I thought that because elephants are a key cultural symbol in Laos, and a very important species, again, this country was called the land of 1 million elephants, and people connect to this animal much more than they do with others. And I thought using elephants and the cultural bond between Lao people and elephants to address wider topics like forest conservation and biodiversity conservation was a good idea. So that's what connected me to the elephants initially. And of course, the more you work with these animals, the more you learn about them and the more you're connected to them, because they are quite extraordinary creatures. And of course, I'm blessed to work with them on a daily basis, and I'm tending to love them more and more. But originally, it's really the using them as a lever to address problems that usually are not really easy to address in this country.
Fantastic. Well, Sebastien, what is your superpower?
My superpower? Working with great people around me, I think. That's my superpower. I have the power to attract fantastic people to work with.
Oh, that's great. That is a powerful power. I congratulate you. Well, Sebastien, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me this evening. It's been a joy to visit with you. And before you go, I wonder if you would just take a moment and tell everyone how they can learn more about the Elephant Conservation Center and how they can connect with you personally.
Of course, yes. Well, the only way to come to the Elephant Conservation Center is to travel to Laos, and hopefully in the future to Myanmar, where we have plans to extend this model so that we have all, another venue to propose in the future. People can connect with me through my Facebook account or through our website. And the website is elephantconservation.com. And we welcome people all year round. So it's a beautiful place to visit, not only to meet 30 elephants and their mahouts, but it's also set on a remarkable piece of land surrounded by mountains. And we are on the banks of a beautiful lake, the Nam Tien Lake in Sayaburi province, which is about 2 hours southwest of Luang Prabang, which is the tourist and cultural hub of Laos.
Fantastic. Well, Sebastien, again, thank you for joining us today. We wish you every success in preserving and conserving elephants and their habitat there in Laos.
Thanks a lot for having me, Devin.
All righty, let's do some good.
At Caring Crowd, we believe everyone has the power to make a difference. Through our crowdfunding platform for community health, we empower passionate people to drive real change. Whether you work for a nonprofit organization, volunteer, or want to get involved for the first time, you can post a campaign on Caring Crowd. Join us, because caring is where change begins.
Thank you for listening. This podcast is available at youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. Subscribe to this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes by searching for Your Mark on the World. Every weekday, Devin hosts a CEO, celebrity, entrepreneur, or other changemaker here on the Your Mark on the World show to inspire and prepare you to make your mark. Devin is a champion of social good, writing about, advocating for, and advising people who are doing good. He is a Forbes contributor who is a recognized thought leader in social entrepreneurship, impact investing, and crowdfunding. To book Devin as a speaker, visit devinthorpe.com.